I want to talk to you about handcuffs. Usually, when we think of handcuffs, we think of cold, rusty metal. We think of criminals. We think of police cars and jail cells. We think of people who have lost their freedom because they did something wrong. But there is another type of handcuff. It is shiny. It is made of 24-karat gold. It sparkles under the fluorescent lights of a corporate office. It looks like jewelry. It looks like success. It looks like the American dream. But make no mistake, it is still a handcuff. And once you put it on, it is harder to take off than any steel lock in the world. I wore these handcuffs for 40 years. I put them on willingly. I begged for them. I worked nights and weekends just to get a pair. And once I had them on, I realized the terrible truth. I wasn't the owner of the gold. I was the prisoner of it. Let me take you back to 1985. I was a young man, hungry, ambitious. I had a wife, Sarah, and two small children, Michael and Emily. We lived in a small house. We drove a used Ford. We had to budget for groceries, but we were happy. We had pizza nights on Fridays. We went camping on weekends because it was cheap. I knew the name of my son's teddy bear. I knew my daughter's favorite color. Then I got the promotion, Senior Director of Operations. The title sounded sweet on my tongue. The salary was double what I was making before. Double. I remember running home to Sarah, waving the offer letter. "We made it," I screamed. "We finally made it." We hugged, we opened a bottle of champagne. We dreamed about the new life we were going to build. And we did build it. We bought the big house in the gated community, the one with the marble floors and the high ceilings. We bought the luxury cars, 2 of them. We put the kids in the best private school in the city. I told myself, this is it. I am the provider. I am the hero. But here is the thing about the golden handcuffs. They don't feel heavy at first. They feel light. They feel like validation. But they tighten. Every time you upgrade your lifestyle, the handcuffs click tighter. Click. You buy the big house? Now you need a $4,000 mortgage payment every month. You can't quit your job now. You need that salary. Click. You buy the luxury cars? Now you need insurance and premium gas. You can't take a sick day now. You need the bonus. Click. You send the kids to private school? Now you have tuition bills that look like ransom notes. You can't miss a meeting now. You are owned by the company. I started leaving the house at 5:30 a.m. to beat the traffic. I started coming home at 8:30 p.m. because the team in Tokyo needed me. I started working on Saturdays because senior directors don't take weekends off. The first year, it felt necessary. The second year, it felt normal. The third year, I became a stranger in my own house. I remember one specific Saturday. It was beautiful outside. The sun was shining. I was in my home office, staring at a spreadsheet, stressed out of my mind about a quarterly review. My daughter Emily came to the door. She was 7 years old. She was wearing her little soccer uniform. She knocked gently. "Daddy?" she whispered. I didn't turn around. I was too focused. "Not now, Emily. Daddy is working. Daddy is paying for this house." She stood there for a moment. Then she said, "Mommy says you're always working. Are you married to your computer?" I spun around in my chair, angry. "I am doing this for you. Do you like your nice room? Do you like your toys? That's why I'm here." She looked at me with big, tearful eyes. She didn't say anything. She just closed the door. Click. I didn't go to her soccer game. I finished the spreadsheet. I told myself I was a good father because I paid for the uniform. I didn't realize that a good father is the one who watches the game, not the one who buys the cleats. Years went by. My salary went up again. We bought a vacation home we used 2 weeks a year. We bought a boat. I drove 3 times. From the outside, I was a king. My neighbors envied me. My cousins asked me for loans. I was the success story of the family. But inside I was rotting. I was tired. Deep in my bones, I was exhausted. I hated my boss. I hated the politics. I hated the pressure. Every Sunday night, I would get a knot in my stomach thinking about Monday morning. I wanted to quit. I wanted to scream. I wanted to just walk away and go work in a garden or a library. But I couldn't. I had the golden handcuffs. I can't quit, I told myself. We have the mortgage. We have the car payments. We have the lifestyle. I was a slave to the things I owned. My possessions possessed me. The turning point came when my son Michael graduated from high school. We had a big party, catered food, expensive decorations. Everyone was there. I walked up to Michael to congratulate him. I put my hand on his shoulder. He flinched. He looked at me with a polite, distant smile. The kind of smile you give to a distant uncle or a stranger. "Thanks, Dad," he said, and then he walked away to talk to his friends. I stood there, holding my expensive glass of scotch, in my expensive suit, in my expensive backyard, and I realized I didn't know him. I didn't know who his best friend was. I didn't know what music he liked. I didn't know what broke his heart. I knew his grades. I knew how much his college tuition cost, but I didn't know him. I looked around that party. I saw my wife Sarah laughing with her friends. She looked tired too. We hadn't had a real conversation in months. We talked about logistics, we talked about schedules, we talked about bills. We were business partners running Family Inc., not lovers. I went into the garage and sat in my $80,000 Mercedes. I shut the door, and I wept. I cried like a child. I lifted my hands. I couldn't see the handcuffs, but I could feel them. They were cutting into my wrists. I had traded 40 hours a week for money, then 50, then 60, then my soul. I asked myself a question that night, and I want to ask you the same question right now. Is this progress, or is this a prison? If you are making $200,000 a year, but you have no time to see your children grow up, are you rich, or are you poor? If you have a massive house, but it is filled with silence and resentment, is it a castle, or is it a cage? If you have the title of vice president, but you have high blood pressure, anxiety, and you need sleeping pills to close your eyes, are you winning? I realized too late that I had been scammed. Society sold me a package. They told me that success meant more money, more stuff, more status, but they didn't tell me the cost. The cost was my freedom. The cost was my connection to the people I loved. Young man, young woman, listen to me. Be very, very careful with the golden handcuffs. They are seductive. They feel good at first. When you get that first big paycheck, it feels like power. But if you are not careful, you will build a life that you cannot escape from. You will buy the big house, and the house will own you. You will buy the luxury car, and the car will drive you. You will take the high-stress job for the money, and the stress will kill you. I am 75 years old now. I sold the big house 10 years ago. I sold the cars. I live in a small condo now. It has 2 bedrooms. It is quiet. I drive a Toyota, and I am happier now than I ever was in that corner office. But I cannot buy back the years. I cannot go back to that Saturday when Emily knocked on my door. I cannot open that door and hug her. That moment is gone. It is dust in the wind. I cannot go back to my son's graduation and remove the distance between us. I have to live with that. That is my punishment. Don't let it be yours. If you are standing at the crossroads right now, if you are thinking about taking that promotion that requires 80 hours a week, if you are thinking about buying that house that stretches your budget to the limit, what is the price? Not the price in dollars, the price in life. Will you have to miss dinner? Will you have to miss the weekends? Will you have to miss yourself? Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say no. No, I don't want the promotion if it means I lose my family. No, I don't want the big house if it means I never sleep. No, I don't want the golden handcuffs. There is a dignity in a smaller life. There is a richness in a used car and a debt-free life. There is a wealth in being able to leave work at 5 p.m. and actually be home. Don't let the world trick you. You don't need to be impressive. You need to be free, because at the end of the day, a cage is still a cage, even if it is made of gold. Take off the handcuffs. Go home. Hug your children while they still know who you are. That is the only promotion that matters.